So, back again. Unfortunately, the video recording program I'm using, I can only record 10 minutes at a time. I apologize for that. So, that's why I kind of went through the last few things very, very quickly. Now I want to talk about myths. Okay? Let's dive into a few myths. Myth number one is that, and I hear it, oh my God, I don't know how many times I hear this. Well, I think I don't need to practice part one because it's insignificant. They don't score me on part one. I need to focus on part two. Or I need to focus on part three because that's where my score comes from. Huh? Huh? What part of overall score are you guys not getting? What part of those three little words do you not understand? Seriously. Okay? Seriously. If you don't understand that, please look them up in the dictionary. Find an English dictionary and look them up. Okay? Because the definition is a score from all parts divided by the sum of all parts. You have 3 parts. Each part has 4 sections. Fluency, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. Okay? You have 4 parts in each one of the parts. You have 4. They're going to give you a band score for each and every one. Okay? Part 1, you're going to get a overall total band score for part 1. Part 2, part 3. They're going to take it and add them all together, divide it by 3. That is your overall score for the speaking part. What part of this is hard to understand? It's very simple. Don't focus on just one part. You've got to know all parts. When you're using complex sentences, don't just use them in part 3 because you think it's the most important. It is the most important part of the exam because it's mentioned more than once. Uses words to connect ideas. Uses complex sentences. Mentions twice in 2 different sections. Use them in all 3 parts. What you do in part 1, you have to do in part 2, you have to do in part 3. Because you're being scored on each individual part. I cannot stress that enough. Okay? Moving on to another myth. Okay, I beat this into the ground. So we're going to move on to another myth. But as I said, I was going to put my contact information back up. So I'm going to back up here, and there it is. Okay, for the last little bit, I'm going to talk about a couple of other myths. A myth is that your English teachers that you're getting help with in your country, I don't want to belittle them. I don't want to put them down. They're probably awesome and amazing, but in China, and I really don't want to upset anybody here or offend anybody, but one of the biggest issues I'm finding in China is everybody is relying on what their teachers are telling them for the IELTS exam in China. And it's Chinese English teachers that learned English from Chinese English teachers. And they're telling them that it is better to say ah rather than have silence. Wrong. 100% wrong. It is better to have silence than to say a word that does not belong in a sentence. Does not belong. It is not a word. You're going to get marked down twice. One, you're saying Two, you're using a useless word or useless sound in a sentence that does not make sense. Poor grammar. Don't follow that. Everybody is also saying to grab stuff off of the internet and memorize that. No. There is some good material out there on the internet. Yes, 100%. There is. There is some really awesome structures on how to answer different questions for the IELTS exam. Hell yeah. Use them. Don't memorize them. Use them as a guide. This is the structure you want to use to answer these types of questions. Absolutely. Use it as a guide. Don't copy it. Don't copy somebody else's story. Don't use a cafe that only serves lava cakes because that's their specialty. Oh my God, I'm sick of lava cake. Okay? Or Mr. and Mrs. Chan are a professor of whatever. I heard that the last set of questions. Oh my God, everybody in China was using that same story. And then they only get like 5.0. And they're going, why? Duh! You copied what 1,000 other people just used. You got to remember, these examiners are in here 8 hours a day. Every 15-20 minutes, they've got another candidate. And if you all are using the same damn lava cake story, you are going to get a 4. Done. You are shooting yourself in the foot. An idiom from America. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Right out of the get-go. Because you're copying somebody else. Don't ever, please, I beg of you. I beg of you. Don't ever copy somebody else. Use it as a guide on how to answer these, yes. But come up with an original story. Original. That you know. Somebody you know. A place you know. Something that you know. Stories and things that you are familiar with. If I was going to go and take this exam, I would 100% use my parents. I know my parents. I love my parents. My parents are amazing. I can come up with 1 billion stories revolving around my parents, around my family, my aunt and uncles, my cousins, my sister, my brother. Okay? Use things you know. Key, very crucial. Stay with things you know. Avoid using things you don't know. Do you know about lava cakes? If you do, great. Use it. If you don't, stay away from it. A happy marriage. My parents have been married for over 50 years. I think that qualifies for a happy marriage. I would use my parents. My aunt and uncle have been married for over 50 years. I would use my aunt and uncle because I know them. Okay? My parents raised me, so obviously I know my parents better. But the point is, don't use something, don't memorize something that you heard online. You're going to fail every single time. You